Okay, let's do a few adding and subtracting of rational functions. So remember, when you're adding fractions, you must have like denominators. But this is going to start the same, where you always start with factoring whatever it is that you can factor. So I'm going to start out by factoring the top left into, well, what would that be? What multiplies the negative 18 and then adds to negative 7? Well, that would be, I'm going to go with x here, guys. I don't like writing the other letters. So that'll be x minus 9, x plus 2. And then the bottom one would multiply to 9 and add to negative 10. That would be x minus 9 and x minus 1, plus one that's already simplified. Oh, now I'm writing m. Okay, x minus 1. Okay, remember what I said about common denominators. Looks like we almost have common denominators, right? They both have x minus 1. But in order to be common, this would have to have an x minus 9, right? So remember, you multiply both the denominator and the numerator to give them a common denominator and to keep them equal. And you'll see if you just look at this independently, we didn't change the value at all because x minus 9 divided by x minus 9 goes away and I'm just left with the original expression. That's why I was able to do it, and it gives us now common denominators and allows us to add. So usually the rule is you multiply by the opposite denominator, if you remember, but we don't need to multiply by the other denominator because this one already had an x minus 1 in it. So once they're common, you're good to go. Now when I add these together, now what I need to do is I need to combine my like terms. So it's actually easier to look at it in this form, okay, which is this thing FOILed. So on the numerator, I'm going to have x squared minus 7x minus 18 plus this stuff, which I'm going to now distribute to 6x minus 54, all over my common denominator. But how about, before we write that common denominator, let's simplify this a little bit to x squared, and then we have to combine our like terms, which is going to be minus x, because negative 7 plus 6, and then minus 72. And remember, that's all over our common denominator. Okay, now once I'm here, I'm going to simplify the top and see if anything will cancel. So what multiplies to, I think it's doable, negative 72 and adds to negative 1? Well, that would be negative 9 and 8. Is that correct? It is. So that tells me that my numerator is x minus 9, x plus 8, all over x minus 9, x minus 1. And then now you see how my x minus 9s cancel out, and the answer is x plus 8 over x minus 1. Okay, so be sure to give them common denominators as you're going along, and study the answer key, because the answer key does a really good job of explaining that. So unlike number 13, for example, this one is a bit more straightforward. I need to multiply this one by this, and I need to multiply this one by this on each side. So to clearly show that to you, this side is multiplied by h plus 2, and this side is multiplied by h plus 5, okay? So now that I've done that, they have a common denominator. So they have a common denominator of h plus 2, h plus 5. All right, I already know that, so I'm just going to kind of put that on hold over here as I deal with my numerator in orange. So remember, I need to simplify and combine like terms. So I'm going to have 2h plus 10 plus 5h plus 10 all over my common denominator. But before I write my common denominator, I'm going to combine my like terms to 7h plus 20. Let me just make sure that everything looks correct. It actually does not. I made a mistake in this one, so excuse me. I'm sure a lot of you guys already picked up on it. I have to FOIL. Oh wait, no, it's only the bottom that would be FOILed. I'm sorry guys, that was correct. Sorry, let me rewrite this. 2h plus 10 plus 5h plus 10, and then we had what, 7h plus 20, and then that is over our common denominator of h plus 2 and h plus 5. And there's no way that I can simplify my 7h plus 20, so I am done, and that is the answer for 13. So go ahead, try a few more. We're going to have some factoring here. When a is 1, that's no problem. Okay, and that should get you through those, and then I'll do a separate video also on the